Donkey Kong is one of my favorite fictional characters ever. Every time I see him, it just puts a smile on my face. I even met him once. That's me. DK just has that certain zaniness that other Mario characters just can't pull off. Sigh. If only they made a DK game like Mario's Best 3D Adventures. Now that'd be something to see. Thanks, DK. You're always so topical. Donkey Kong Bananza, the very unexpected successor to Mario Odyssey. A great game in its own right. This game being unveiled as the Switch 2's big system seller after Mario Kart World, which, let's be real, almost everyone already bought the bundle with Mario Kart World for the console anyways. So DK got the chance to help push Nintendo into the future with his brand new 3D platformer, with also getting a new facelift to go along with the new game. I personally really like his new design. Now, his old design isn't bad, but it certainly hasn't aged the best, as old DK looks really wonky sometimes, especially in the lip area. To top it off, Nintendo decided to not bring back Diddy just for another adventure, and really make this feel like a mainline game by adding Pauline. But that's just all the fluff on top of the game. What really matters is the gameplay, and how long I can last until I inevitably compare it to a Mario game. Wow. Thanks. Starting with the plot of the game, where DK, as we all know, fucking loves bananas. And of course, there's ore bananas, so DK has to come mining for them. But nothing is ever as simple as it seems, and DK ends up meeting a young Pauline, transformed into a rock, by these fun group of guys. What are these guys doing, monkeying around? Oh man, time to check that off the list. The Void Company, the main adversaries of the game, turning Pauline into a rock to harness her secret powers for their evil company. Because no non-evil company would make their logo some nasty, ratchet-looking monkey.
Brother, what's that?
And since the Void Company decides to interfere with the mining operation for themselves, that subsequently causes the shaft to collapse, setting us up for our journey with both DK and Pauline, working together to get out of the underground. But get this, going deeper underground to find the ultimate banana at the bottom of the underground to grant one wish, which for Pauline is to go home. What a boring wish. At least DK wants something way cooler than that. More bananas. Yeah. No matter how boring our protagonist's wishes are, I think the start of the journey really did capture a sense of wanting to go out on this adventure instead of some other platformers that will throw you into the game and just leave like a dad to go get milk, knowing their child's gonna be a disappointment. Platformers have never been known to have deep stories, especially not in a Nintendo one. That isn't a bad thing though, as they get to expand some more on some of the side characters that you get to meet, with smaller dialogue happening with Pauline, like her telling you the exact emotions she's feeling right out loud. But surprisingly, she never becomes unlikable, like a lot of other navigators in games. She sits in that tier of companions where she can be annoying, but she has really good scenes that make her likable at the end of the day. And I do like the more concentrated effort to flesh out the story and characters, even if briefly. Like the previously mentioned Void Company. The underlings have thoughts about their boss and only really view destroying you as part of their job. See, they aren't evil. They only want to destroy the earth for money. And they feel really sorry about it. So we're going to be gifting them $100 million that the orphans willingly let us use. They're so generous. But enough about a storyline to a freaking kids game. What everyone's really here for is the gameplay, and that's going to be our next section. Bananza doesn't play around. You're instantly dropped into the first section of the game, and they just say, explore. No need to hold your hand through a boring tutorial or make you watch 20 minutes of cutscenes. The game thrives off of you discovering things on your own, with your own tools, which DK happens to have plenty of. Being able to punch, slap, and roll himself around the world, can even use these powers to start cutting himself into the earth. This being Bananza's big gameplay mechanic. Destructible terrain, which houses many secrets, bananas, challenge areas, fossils, Donkey Kong 64. We don't speak of Donkey Kong 64. Nah, it's fine. But DK King of Swing, that's a real travesty. Back to the destructible zones. These aren't limited to small areas. These are the entire layer, which can be massive. Oftentimes, I thought I was on to the next world before just going down one layer to see an even bigger area to explore. But that would all be useless if DK didn't control so well. While a little tricky to get the hang of at first, the weight and power behind your movements feels so natural and responsive. Like a 500-pound beast should have some heft to him. Whether you're rolling around the open fields or chucking boulders at enemies, it all comes fluidly, instead of the game feeling clunky and slow, which is what I thought it looked like originally. DK gets around this by letting you climb on the walls whenever you want. So not only can you dig anywhere, you can climb anywhere too. And tying this back into the levels, the worlds are almost a 2-for-1. You can get the actual mainline quests that take you through the regular platforming sections and local NPCs, but you also have the huge sandbox where you can explore anywhere. Heck, one of the levels is literally a massive sandbox, so you have to dig your way through to the bottom. DK having all this freedom makes you feel, for one, incredibly powerful, but for two, it makes you not want to put him down since he's so fluid. The other new gimmick in the game makes you even more powerful. If letting you destroy the world wasn't enough, being the Bananza transformations. Through Pauline's special singing powers, you can transform into much bigger animals, granting you many new abilities for DK to use. These are your standard platforming upgrades with getting stronger, faster, flyer, jumper, and an elephant. Nintendo's favorite trope, for whatever reason. While the abilities are fun to use and very vital to many parts of the game, I found myself not using them that much, because they kinda ugly.
I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
Besides their ugliness, the Bananza transformations often feel best within the challenge areas. These areas are somewhat hidden to right out in the open, where you have special events you can do. It feels so good within these because they are specifically designed for these parts of the game. This is because the Bananza transformations are pretty limited in what they can do, but when you give them a nice challenge that is specific to what they can do, they feel pretty good. So I love Bananza's gameplay loop. While DK's signature weighted platforming is a little tricky to get the hang of at first, after that, the game just really opens up. There's so much to go do and so much to go explore. I found myself multiple times just forgetting the main story and exploring the side content because there's something always to draw me back in. I just don't know if there are any other games that can really compete with it as a platformer. I mean, this game is almost perfect.
Oh yeah, Mario
Okay,
time!
maybe there's one guy who could compete with him, but that's it. Inevitably, you have to compare Mario's esteemed platforming library to Bananza. I mean, the team that worked on Odyssey also made this game as well. And the team that made Galaxy and Galaxy 2 and Sunshine. You can see it as soon as the first second of gameplay. Bananza is very much its own game, which is why I felt comparing him to Mario right off the rip would be such a disservice to him. Instead of just taking all of Mario's old assets and adding a furry onesie over it, DK innovates on previous mechanics and makes them way better. You know, all the good stuff I just talked about like 3 minutes ago. Taking ideas from literally all of the previous 3D platformers. So let's go over them, starting with Sunshine. Hey, that's what I said. While Mario 64 is the pioneer for all other platformers, its age is definitely starting to show. But Mario Sunshine, on the other hand, is perfect. This game has a lot of firsts for the 3D Mario series, like voice acting.
How dare you disturb my family vacation?
Sunshine does bring the introduction of a real story, not just a few text boxes that send you on your way. No one said the story was incredibly interesting, but a first is a first. The bigger mechanic related to DK are the levels, where you lose everyone's favorite water jetpack, Flood. These just aren't very good in Sunshine, cutting off the abilities of Flood that Mario was made for in these challenging levels. These aren't crazy platforming challenges either, but Sunshine's crappy physics system makes them way harder than they ever needed to be. Mario's slippery, loose, and just doesn't seem to enjoy staying on the platforms. So DK takes these ideas from these interesting levels and adds them to the bonus rooms from the Donkey Kong Country series, combining them to make the challenge relics in each layer. These extra challenges give you fun new content for you to try out, not making these levels super difficult or with odd one-time mechanics, since almost nobody wants to play sections of a game that are needlessly tedious. Bananza cuts out a lot of the bloat found in the special stages, not expecting you to become some platforming wizard. They put the big E on the box for a reason. Because these games are exuberant and exhilarating? Not a chance. Because if you look really closely at the box art, you can see that these games are made for babe ease. So Sunshine didn't really hit out of the park in terms of moving the Mario series forward. Or really anywhere. Except for voice acting.
How dare you disturb my family vacation?
Thankfully, there are other 3D Mario games to look at. If we kept in the Sunshine rabbit hole, we'd probably have a game where DK uses bongos to fly. So from Sunshine, they learn how to make and not to make engaging challenge levels. Something that's still hard, but very doable for a new player, and something that should have spectacle so you're not getting bored. Speaking of spectacle, we're going to be moving on to Mario Galaxy, Nintendo's most glazed platformer. This game deserves all of the love and attention it gets, from its great graphics, the amazing soundtrack, and the creative level design and challenges, all confined to a box that has the power of a singular horse. And with the limitations presented to this game, it makes it even more impressive that it is almost perfect. In my opinion, the biggest problems with Mario Galaxy are the outdated controls. These games are on mini galaxies, and they made you feel that by making Mario really floaty. But that actually hurts his movement in the long run. With all that float and more linear level design of Galaxy, Mario feels considerably slower and less versatile than basically any other game, with his overall 360 movement feeling like he just can't turn as well. His power-ups suffered a worse fate, most of them being unfun to play due to their limited and stiff controls. Except for Cloud Mario, my GOAT! And all of our issues can be tied back into one evil entity.
And I have a foolproof test to show it's evil. Don't worry guys, I saw this online.
The Galaxy games got held back so much with how often they needed to integrate motion controls into the game. Mario would control so much better if he wasn't burdened to being made on the Wii. On the other hand, Bananza makes movement so seamless, as DK needs to go from doing so many different actions in a very short amount of time. So the control over DK can feel almost too good at times. I never had any problems with him not feeling like I could pull off a move or not wanting him to do something that he did. Not to mention, his move list is massive, seeming like he has a unique move or combination of moves that can solve almost any problem you have. Like an example is the spinning punch, which is great for clearing out an area of rocks, but if you transform into the massive Kong with the Bananza transformations, it's even stronger and wilder, so you can get more space in real estate for your punch. Or how about the rock surf, where you're just going full funky mode on physics? This can be used to both avoid you from getting damage on spikes, but also can just make you faster. The wider moveset DK has makes him feel less stiff and like he really stretches limbs more than 3D Mario on the Wii ever could.
Don't think this is me hating on the Mario Galaxy games. I think those games are great, but when push comes to shove, the Kong just does it better and has a better mustache too? Who do we have writing the scripts? Monkeys? The last thing we need to talk about is the level and world design. How does the level feel? And how does the world feel built on top of each other? Well, we only have one more game to look at, and I think you know what it is.
Mario Odyssey, the most recent of the 3D Mario platformers, and by far the most expansive, having massive levels, great music, sexy outfits, and lots of hidden and hard to get moons. But not all of Mario Odyssey is hard. Actually, it's kinda easy. A lot of moons are just basically given to you, sitting out in the open.
Oh no! How's Mario gonna get this one? Okay.
But that's not the biggest issue in the world. What's worse is,
There's not much to do.
obviously you can go collect some moons, but a lot of these levels to me feel wasted. The levels I'm talking about are the open world like areas, where there's a lot of flatness and other stuff. Not all of the levels are like this, obviously. Usually they're limited to smaller sections of that area, but they're not fun to play. New Donk City is a perfect example of a smaller area built more on climbing and using the crazy Cappy abilities than just having somewhere to run around in. I certainly had more fun in that area and in Bowser's Kingdom than in the much larger, flatter areas of Snow Kingdom or Luncheon Kingdom. The big open areas of Mario Odyssey aren't very engaging, and I think Nintendo thought the exact same thing. Since in Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury, the expanded and upgraded version of the Wii U game, they built a whole side mode trying to make a large open world area to explore and have multiple engaging places to find and interact with. And what would be the next game the 3D Mario team would work on? The way that the world and design of the levels is different in Bananza is that it's meant for you to explore everywhere. Now, the most concentrated and best designed areas are the main story sections, as you would hope. Having unique characters and designs for each of the layers of the underground, once you leave the safety of the main story, you realize there's so much to go do and explore. You could just start breaking every inch of the dirt like a psychopath, or you can use both your map that can track where you are in between sublayers, as well as the hand slap that can echolocate your way into finding literally everything. This made me want to explore almost all of each layer because it was fun to do so, and never because I had to do it like in other games. Allowing the player to find things on their own is something that is lost in a lot of modern games, and for me, DK brought that back. And the game rewards that exploration with all the content that I've already talked about. Like finding the secret challengers or bananas with your own game knowledge and skill is something that's hard to replicate because you have to make the player want to go find these things instead of just putting them around the map. And that signature after you complete a hard challenge is just an incredible microdose of happiness. Not to mention how the collectibles in this game actually feel like they matter, with them corresponding to upgrades you could give Donkey Kong to make him just a tad stronger, as well as the costume ideas from Mario Odyssey. Through all of Bananza, I feel like the team who made it did an incredible job. Are there problems with it? Of course. But looking back through Mario's 3D adventures and the pure thrill I had beating this game, as these 3D platformers really shouldn't be compared. This is just another evolution of the Mario gameplay.
I never thought I'd see the day where DK surpassed Mario in terms of platforming. It speaks to the leap that this character has taken in a pretty short amount of time. I mean, from the early 2000s where DK could barely get a good game, to now, It's awesome to see as both a fan of his character and as just a fan of good platformers. You also have to talk about how good the 3D Mario team is at their job and how they are just a titan of the platforming industry. I mean, you're taking a character that hasn't had a 3D game in 30 years and revamping him and having him being one of the best platformers of all time. That's insane. And that's all there is to talk about. Wait, I forgot. We have one more monkey joke. I'm sure I'll be fine. It won't bite me in the ass later.